Welcome! Yet another bunch of Joy Division and New Order and related pickups to show you today. So without further ado, let's just forgo the waffle and preamble and get right on with it. So first pickup is not on vinyl and it is from eBay, and it's a New Order album, and it's Movement in the limited edition mid-80s factory Hessian style cassette box set. I made a meal of that more than I needed to. Long-time viewers may have seen these on the channel before. The first 5 albums came out on this format from Factory Records, the first 5 New Order albums. I'm including Substance in that. That was released as a double cassette within this white box set here. And I've been hoping to get a full set of these for a few years now, really, and finally managed to pick up Movement, the debut album, on this format. Now, the only one I'm missing in this set is the second album, Power, Corruption and Lies. Very rare. Those who are selling it, they seem to be asking a lot of money. But I'm glad I waited and just kept checking back on this one as well, because Movement, really, in the Hessian box set cassette format, I'd seen people asking upwards of £50 for it in the past, and I just refused to pay it. But I made a best offer. It was around 30, I think, maybe a little more, and then including postage, possibly 35 all in. And it does come with everything that it's supposed to, which isn't an awful lot. It's basically just this postcard style insert. It's a bit bent, but I can live with that. The cassette itself, it's an unnecessary thing really, but as a collector, and with New Order and related be my prize collection, I'm happy to multi-format. I've now got Movement on CD, the definitive edition box set, which has the vinyl and another CD in it, and I've got it on cassette now as well. So not my favourite New Order album, in fact, to be honest, it's my least favourite, but still wanted this. If anyone sees something looking like this, but it says Power, Corruption and Lies on it, and it's going for half decent price, then do let me know, as that would make this a complete set of all these cassettes. Thank you very much. We do move on to the vinyl now, and here's some pickups from Discogs, of course. This first one was from a seller in Denmark, I think. And I did mention this very briefly in the last JDNO update video, because I'd ordered this from a seller. That seller messaged me saying, I'm sorry, I've only got that on CD, not on vinyl like you wanted. And he gave me a refund, and he still ended up sending me the other thing that I'd ordered from him, which was the 12-inch Light Years from Love by Martha. But I kind of still wanted this, and I didn't want the CD, it was just the vinyl I wanted. I knew I could get it for a pretty good price, and it is this 3 12-inch set. Would you call it a compilation album? I'm not entirely sure. Explicit Beats. So it's got 3 12-inches in it. I think the CD is classed as like a compilation album. It might be mixed. I don't actually know. Not an awful lot to see really with the LPs or the 12-inch singles, but there is 3 of them. And the reason I wanted this is, where is it? It's on side C, so that'll be disc 2, Arthur Baker versus Rennie Pilgrim, Like No Other, and Peter Hook, although he seems to be uncredited, although there's a lot of small text on this, so he could be credited somewhere. I just don't want to stick my glasses on yet until I have to. But Peter Hook does play bass on Like No Other, and I do like Arthur Baker as well. Not massively exciting, although for the price I paid it was probably under £20 even from Denmark. Happy that I finally got it a little bit later than I expected to. The 3LP or 3 12-inch Explicit Beats. Here's one I got from a Discogs seller. It was somewhere in Europe, I think. Possibly Germany, I can't remember. A fair bit of this stuff I've been hanging on to, just waiting to be able to make this video really. And it is this 12-inch single from The Bridge, Love Dance. Peter Hook is uncredited on this, but he does play bass. For some reason this came out as two 12-inch singles, the same tracks on them, but one of them had like a generic sleeve. This is the more, although it still looks a little generic admittedly, but this is like the proper sleeve version. So Love Dance, Love Mix and Love Dance Industrial Mix. Peter Hook, I think he's on the Love Mix, certainly could be on the Industrial Mix as well, because he's technically uncredited. I couldn't say for certain. Not an awful lot to see really. Quick look at the vinyl while it's out. On the Second Vision label. And what year did this come out? It was at least mid-80s, I think. It's got like an export-only stamp on, but it's not a proper stamp. It's just sort of printed within the design of the sleeve, really. More kind of new wave, indie rock, with a little bit of a synth twist. There's a lot of this stuff that the likes of Hooky, Barney, etc. have either produced or played on. A lot of that is kind of this ilk, and it's all good stuff really. I've really discovered so much in relation to obscure acts from the 1980s that have a admittedly tenuous New Order link, and The Bridge is another one, Love Dance.
I see another open window and see your big brown eyes. I notice your self-pity and look again and look again.
Similar vein, although at least this one is actually on the factory label, is a 12-inch single from Red Turns 2. This is Deep Sleep on side A, and then I think there's two tracks on side B, Lost Again and Wave. So this is from 1984, it says that prominently on the centre label. I do like this sleeve here with this embossing on the, well, the front and the back seem almost identical, to be honest. Nothing else really to see. Red Turns 2, I think this was their only release, literally. I don't think they had an album, and I'm forgetting who played on this or who produced it. I think this was Stephen Morris. If I'm wrong, if I'm mistaken, I will correct myself on screen. Red Turns 2, Deep Sleep, Lost Again, Wave.
You told me everything was right. You told me every single night. But it seems to me when I hold you tight, something in this dream that's not quite right. Seems to me when I hold you tight, something in this dream that's not quite right. And when you told me we can share those empty rooms that seem so bad, I can't understand why I feel at night. There's something in this dream that's not quite right. Can't understand why I feel at night. There's something in this dream that's not quite right. Deep sleep for me, it's so hard these days. Deep sleep for me, it's so hard these days. The bed seems so cold.
Alright, we can go back to New Order themselves now. This was something else that I mentioned in passing in the last update video. I'd purchased two Round and Round 12-inch singles from Dig Vinyl in Liverpool, and there's a third one. I'd seen it sort of here and there over the years anyway. Perhaps I assumed it was like a foreign import for a while, but no, it's a UK factory release, which are the ones that I want, at least in regards to New Order singles. I thought, you know what, I'll get this third one. I'm not sure all of these singles will get reissued when the Technique Definitive Edition box set inevitably comes out. Whatever is reissued, because I would prefer the reissues for the 12-inch singles, really, as that's what I've been collecting all these years, mostly. I've just made an exception with these Technique era ones. I'll pass on any sort of duplicates that I get to friends as VCLT, but whether this one will get released, I don't know. I mean, it's going to be very, very similar to at least one of the Round and Round 12 inches I showed last time. I think this was around 20, give or take, including postage, from a UK seller. The difference between this one and one of the others is this one has something that's classed as the 12-inch mix on, but I think it's a different 12-inch mix to the one that's on the first 12-inch, and its factory being pretty incompetent when it comes to naming tracks and labelling stuff properly. It's very confusing, and it does my head in to think about. But yeah, it's another Round and Round 12-inch, really, without wanting to get into the semantics of it. Happy to have that. So I now move on to a site, I'd never used them before, based in Germany. I discovered them via Discogs. I saw that they had a website, a shop online themselves, and the name amused me right from the start, because this is from Tesco, Germany. Not only can you get all your groceries, no, you can't really get any groceries. Tesco, Germany, a record selling site that specialise in kind of industrial and avant-garde electronica, neoclassical, you know, weird shit, in other words. Apparently they named themselves Tesco after the track Tesco Disco by Throbbing Gristle. Funnily enough, some of the logos they use, and there might be one on screen that I've used now, they do kind of borrow the old actual UK Tesco, the supermarket logo. So yeah, I'm not sure if they're kind of breaking some sort of copyright laws there, but anyway, that's not really my business. But anyway, this is what I got from there, and it's a weird one, this. This is the Post-Romantic Empire album. Now, I picked this up because it's got Peter Hook on it. The price, reasonable enough, I think, to say it was from Germany, and it's got 2 LPs and a 7-inch single within here. There's like a big load of spiel about what the whole idea of this is, the Post-Romantic Empire. It's like a super group. It's neoclassical. I've not really dived deeply into all this. I've just seen that Peter Hook features on a couple of the tracks, and I got it for the collection, really. I mean, it's a very nice package. Apparently this is limited to, I think, 1,001 copies worldwide, from an Italian record label. It's got an embossed PRE logo on the front there, so that's obviously Post-Romantic Empire, but I think the label is called something different. In the gatefold here, we've got a massive essay, really, and I've not even attempted to read any of it yet, but I will do as I'm listening to it. I suppose technically it's a triple album, because I think this 7-inch here, and it's such a nicely packaged thing, handmade sleeve apparently. This has got 2 tracks on it, this 7-inch here, I think it's white vinyl as well. And one of them is a cover of Dreams Never End, the New Order song, done on like piano and cello, but that one doesn't feature Peter Hook, weirdly. Just a little look at the 7-inch there. The 2 LPs are just black vinyl, by the way. And they also come with these kind of tracing paper sheets as well, plus another little essay here. It's such a elaborate and fancy set, this. Now, I initially ordered this from the record label's Bandcamp page, as they do have one, and it said they were still in stock, but there was just no response. Eventually I got Bandcamp to give me my money back. I found Tesco Germany. The name still amuses me. I'm easily pleased. And it ended up being cheaper there than what it would have been buying directly from the record label themselves in Italy on Bandcamp. See, more of these tracing paper These are so fragile, you know, I don't sort of try and shove them in the gatefold really. So they've kind of made it a little too kind of precious and fiddly really. Two versions of Love Will Tear Us Apart. Peter Hook plays on both of those. I'll just read through some of the other names that are in this post-romantic Empire ensemble. Just some who I actually know. I've heard of Larry Cassidy and Vin Cassidy. They were both in Section 25. Baby D. I don't think that's the Baby D, the kind of hardcore act who had a couple of big hits in the early 90s. Matt Howden, that name rings a bell. Annabella Lwin, she was from Bow Wow Wow, of course. Oh, Andrew WK. Oh, wow, I didn't actually realise Andrew WK is on this. I'm a big fan of this. I didn't realise that at all. I wonder what track he's on then. Oh, he plays on the House of the Rising Sun, a 20-minute version. He plays bass guitar on that. He produced it as well. Yeah, strange thing this. Don't know if I'll even enjoy it much, but Hookie's on it, so I wanted it for the collection. It's as simple as that. A lot of reading to do as well while I'm listening to this, but the post-romantic Empire album, strange stuff, but looking forward to it, I guess. Now for a couple of purchases from Cherry Red Records, who I'd never actually purchased from before. I've bought Cherry Red product before. I got these two from the same artist, and it was a good day to do it as well, as they had 20% off everything at Cherry Red. So these ended up being a little bit cheaper than normal, and it's a couple of albums from former Kraftwerk member Wolfgang Flür. So these would fit in my Kraftwerk collection, as I do have all their, well not all, but all their studio albums from Autobahn onwards. But I got this for the Joy Division New Order collection because this one, Magazine 1, has a track called Birmingham that not only features Peter Dougal and Claudia Brücken, but it also features Peter Hook. And from what I've heard of it, it's a bloody good track as well. There's also collaborations between Wolfgang and U96 on here. I like U96, a German sort of Euro techno project of the 90s that are still going in some form today. Carl Cox also features on this. I think it's just black vinyl this. The album itself came out 2022. Oh, Midge Yours on it. It's on a track called Das Beat. Some big names really, or at least big to me, on this album Magazine 1. Good electronic music really. Peter Hook is on a track called Birmingham.
Composers and inventors, no place for pretenders. Meet me in the West Midlands, watching from a higher stance, like an old woman of sense.
I got his follow-up album, Wolfgang Fleur's follow-up album, Times. And this one, although it came separate, I will stick it in when I've opened this, came with an autographed, they called it a postcard. It's not a postcard, it's a slip of slightly glossy paper. But Times is the follow-up. I got this again because Peter Hook is on it. He's on a track on side D, so on LP2, called Monday to the Moon. Anyone else who I'm familiar with who collaborates with Wolfgang on here? U96 again. Peter Hook's actually on 2 tracks. He's on one on side B, Uber All, or Uber Alle. Boris Blank from Yellow, he features on a track called Global Youth. Someone from Daft Punk is on it as well. Wolfgang Fleur and Times, and I've got his autograph as well, which is very nice and didn't cost me any extra. So happy to have those. Now on to some Juno records. Juno are fantastic. I order from them and they just send stuff out first class and really promptly as well. Many times I'll have got what I've ordered the following day, if not the day after at the very latest, and they're just extremely reliable, competitive prices. But I don't want this to turn into an infomercial for them. But I did get these next 3 records from Juno. First one is a new, and it is a brand new release 12-inch single from Factory Floor. It's hand numbered. Mine is 234 out of 300. Oop, something slipping out there. Just a sort of glorified post-it note, really. And this is Between Us. And I got this because it does have some Stephen Morris involvement. Don't know how much exactly. From what I can tell, he helped out in the studio. I don't think he's credited as producer as such. It might be something like drum technician or drum production or something like that. But he's definitely involved in this. Limited to just 300 copies. I was going to try and get this on Bandcamp, but I'd left it too late. And there was also a rough trade edition, which might have been gold vinyl possibly, that was limited to only 200 copies, and I missed out on that. But Juno still had this one. I didn't really care which version I got, the normal or the rough trade, and even the normal is very limited, as you can see, only to 300. So yeah, there's some Stephen Morris involvement on this one from Factory Floor, Between Us.
Between you and heaven, it's love, it's love, it's love, it's love, it's love, it's love.
For a couple of Joy Division unofficial live albums. This one is Futurama 79, and the Futurama Festival was held at Queen's Hall, Leeds on 8th of September 1979. One of the tracks on here, Cross of Iron, was recorded at the Preston Warehouse on the 20th of February 1980. I may have that on the Preston live album that I've got on CD and vinyl. I don't think this is coloured vinyl. It's got a little sticker there that notes that this one is limited to 200 copies and mine includes a poster. I think the record label, whoever they are, Futura possibly, did it where the first 100 have a poster and something else. I'm trying to remember. I'll maybe put it on screen. Then the next 100 or the first 200 had just the poster, and then anything after that amount was just the record apparently, but it's still individually numbered, I think, up to 500 it looks like, and mine is number 127. There's the poster. I mean, very thin quality paper, and it's not a bad image. I mean, it's deliberately blurry, obviously, because it's Ian Curtis doing his frantic dancing there. But obviously it's something that I'd keep within the record itself. I do like to get these Joy Division bootlegs, for want of a better term, when I can, and Juno seem to have some come round fairly regularly at good prices, such as Futurama 79, and also this one that's a pretty new release, he says, as my pile of records is nearly toppling over. This one is Young Hearts Fail, and it's live at the Moonlight Club, London, on the 3rd of April 1980. So very late gig in the Joy Division chronology. The last 5 tracks on it are actually from the Factory in Hume, Manchester, from September 79, which I will have on, I think, on the Middlesbrough and Manchester bootleg, I think, that I bought last year. So there's always going to be some doubling up, really, when they kind of padding an album out, but the actual Moonlight Club London gig, I've not got that before. I've explained before with Joy Division live stuff, I'm trying to just get stuff that I know I've not got on CD or even on vinyl previously, as otherwise you can end up getting so many different copies of the same gig, really. So it's a bit of a chore, sort of ticking off what you haven't got, really, as there's so many different bootlegs and different versions of the same gig out there. We'll get this one open, I think, because it's sealed. The Futurama album was classed as new, but as a lot of bootlegs tend to be, wasn't sealed. But this one actually is. It's on the Dear Boss label. I think this also came out in a black vinyl variant. This one was a little bit more expensive, but I think it was still not much over £20. And it's also a limited edition of 300, I think. Ooh, very staticky inside this sleeve here, but yeah, you can see it's a nice clear disc here. Not absolutely crystal clear. In fact, on camera it's looking a little bit sort of rainwatery, but lovely stuff nonetheless. Bang, and the static is gone. Not much else to say about that one. Joy Division, Young Hearts Fail. So finally, we have the inevitable mail opening. I do like to do my mail openings in these videos. I know it doesn't make any difference, really. It's just another record I'm showing you. It's kind of a habit I've got into. I can't explain. This is from HHV in Germany. I've used those a few times now, predominantly for New Order and related stuff, it has to be said. This is just a 12-inch single. I'd had my eye on it for a while, seen it on Discogs. Finally decided, yeah, I do want that because it's kind of a New Order single, really. The price of this, I don't think was too bad, including postage from Germany, maybe around the €25 mark. They've put it in an outer sleeve as well, very good of them. It's not very interesting, this, because it's not even got a proper sleeve to it, it's just generic. But it is the Jam X and DeLeon versus New Order mixes of Blue Monday. So side A, Blue Monday original mix, which isn't the original as in New Order's, it will be the original Jam X and DeLeon. And then there's a dub mix on side B. Just standard black vinyl. Yeah, a bit of a boring way to finish this in relation to how the record looks, but oh well. It was the one thing I was waiting for in the post before I was happy to make this video, to be honest. So I'll just put it back in its admittedly nice quality, generic white cardboard sleeve there. Good kind of trance remix of Blue Monday, I would call it. Enjoyed it when I listened to it. I'm going to put it with all the other New Order singles, as New Order do get a specific credit on the centre label there. The Jam and DeLeon Blue Monday mixes.
How does it feel when you treat me like you do? And place your hands upon me and tell me who you are. I thought I was mistaken, and I thought I heard your words. Now tell me, how do I feel? Tell me now, how do I feel? Those who came before me lived through their vocations from the past and
And that's yet another Joy Division and New Order update video done and dusted today. Thank you all for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and I want to say special thanks to my subscribers and patrons. I'm going to go now, loads to listen to. Let's not even start as to whether I think that there's going to be another one of these. There really isn't a lot left, but who knows. I do check again and again and again, and there's bits that crop up that I missed the first time or the last time, or that may be new. In the case of Factory Floor, that was a new release. But I'm going to go and listen to some good stuff here, and I do hope that all of you will join me again for my next Joy Division and New Order related video, and my next music collecting video. Cheers everyone. See ya!